Yes, people, and today we're back with a Halloween special. I'm excited for this one, yeah? This one's about Ed Gein. I know I said I would stick to just a music thing, but as it's Halloween, I want to talk on the Monster series, yeah? Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it in parts, but it was a lot of stuff added that didn't need to be in there. What was the need for the inspired movies? Yeah, there's many serial killers that people have been inspired by, that have made TV shows, that have made movies, that have wrote books, done all sorts of things. That doesn't mean that they have to put them in these series. They didn't do it with Dharma, did they? And Dharma was a smash hit, rated that one massively. But this monster one, I'm going to get into it. I'm going to take a massive deep dive into Ed Gein's life, because I have followed serial killers from a young teen, and it's quite bad, but even as a child I used to watch stuff, you know. Dad, if you're watching this, you might remember serial killer stuff, Crime Watch. I used to watch it all and get scared. But I've always enjoyed it, yeah. Weirdly, it's weird, isn't it, how people enjoy this mad stuff. But anyway, let's get into it. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified, and if you could leave a comment with some blood drops, leave 3 blood drops, yeah?
Chandelier, the Birkin bag with the ear, Chanel with a smear. Have what you want, my dear. The flesh your tea. No, it's on me. Name's Ed Gein.
So this Halloween special, we're going to be talking about Ed Gein's life, included in with the series, yeah? To pick apart the things that were untrue. I believe the series could have been a good 2-hour film rather than an 8 hours series, right? But let's get into it. Ed Gein was born in 1906, lived in Plainfield on a farm. Between the 40s and 50s, he went to 3 different graveyards and entered over 40 graves. He made sure the graves were not fully buried, so so there was an easy access. He could only dig a couple of feet before retrieving the bodies, putting them in his van, and driving back home. The series pictures him and the lover that he had, which is completely untrue. The the lover, they had only met a handful of times, and they did have a liking for each other, but I think the series had just done that to give it more of an edge. And I don't know why, because now people are like, oh, I feel sorry for him, I just want to give him a hug, he was just misunderstood. No, he was a lunatic. We'll get into it fully, and now you'll understand. I don't know why that series has done that. Also with the voice as well. A lot of people was like, why? Because a lot of people probably have heard him talk. If you search up the interviews, like I done many years ago, he just sounded fairly normal. But anyway, these dates at the graves never happened. On the series, it also pictures Bernice Warden, which was his last actual kill, because he was only ever charged for 2 kills, even though there are many occasions that I believe that he had killed these people, because they went missing. His truck was last seen on their whereabouts. It all ties back to them being involved with them on their last moment. So I believe he killed way more than just 2 people. But the last person he killed, which Netflix pictured that was the first woman he killed, was actually the last, Bernice Warden, which the son was Plainfield firefighter. His last kill, he shot Bernice Warden, put her in the back of his truck, drove her back to his house, and filleted her body, basically, to the point where it looked like a deer had been hunted and cut open. That's how they explained it. Which then police had found the body, and he was arrested, and that's when his reign of twisted, messed up ways were ended. The small village always found him fairly weird, so when there was blood shown at the shop where Bernice was shot, they then said, let's go to Ed's house and let's see what I want. They got there, and that's when they had searched the place and found him. Found her, should I say. They found her. while Ed used to enter graveyards, he would go into like a dazed like state, as he stated in the interviews, which again, I don't know if that's true because everyone pleads insanity when, it's such a high case. They all plead insanity, but he said he went into a like a dream-like state while doing this, then leaving, realized what he had done to continue to go back and turn bodies into furniture, rah, rah, rah. We'll get into that later on. I believe Netflix had got the character to play that voice as it was, because when he was caught, he was then taken into a psychiatric unit. So that's why I believe they had put that voice on.
You're not from
But
Plainfield, are
again,
you?
people, are then sort of like felt for him because of the voice, because of what he'd been through, his upbringing and things like that. But as Ed stated, he would look at women as, oh, she's pretty, but at the same time, imagine what a head would look like severed on a stick. So you've got to realize this guy is an absolute lunatic, and that's why he's gone so down in history. That's why these films, series, books, music, you know, that's why they was drawn to that so much, because he was so twisted. He is not a lovable person like people, you know, like people are saying online, the world's gone mad. So on to Ed's mother. As you all may know, she was a believer in God. She would recite the Old Testament from the Bible to the children at the house, make out that all women were evil and that they must stay clear of all women. Ed was obsessed with his mum, and when she did have a stroke, he was her carer, but not in a sexual way, as the series made out. There was nothing sexual that went on. There was an outfit that he had created from many bodies to make up this suit that he'd get into to pretend he was his mother. He had stated in the interview, I made that suit so I could crawl into her skin. So yeah, a very weird obsession with his mother, most definitely. In regards to Ed's brother, they did have a close relationship. They worked on the farm together. In the series, it shows the brother saying to Ed that he's going to move away, and then Ed, over the back of his head, offing him, yeah? That is probably what happened, but there is nothing to say that that conversation had taken place where he had said, right, I'm moving away, which led him to do that. And also in the series, it shows Ed run into the house to tell his mum about the fire, and then the fire brigade turns up. That is not true. So Ed used to burn vegetation on the farm all the time, and a fire had broken out, and then Ed went missing for hours. In that time, the fire brigade were called. They put the fire out and they did a thorough search on the farm because both of the brothers were missing. Ed was never found in all them hours they were looking, but the brother had been found. I think it was coroners, yeah. They had done tests on Ed's brother's body and had found it was asphyxiation and bruising to the back of his head. So highly likely he was murdered, strangled. But Ed was never charged for that. The police just brushed it to one side, which is crazy, to me. That would never happen this day and age. But yeah, man. With Ed's father, he was an abusive drunk. As shown in the series, he would slap Ed's mother, which then Ed's mother slaps him back and tells him to leave. That never happened. Ed's father left on his own accord, which I think is great, because even though both of them are very, very twisted, having them both together, Ed had no chance anyway, but that probably would make things 10 times worse. Ed's father used to beat Ed, and if he had made any friends, he would make sure he'd put stop to that, or trying to affect him to have any relationships with anybody. he would put a stop to that. After he had left, I think he had died. No, I know he had died years later from heart failure. So yeah, having parents like that, mum and father, you definitely had no chance in doing well in life having parents like that. It doesn't show this in the series, but Ed enjoyed construction, maintenance, going to other farms and doing work on their farms. So like road maintenance and stuff like that, he would enjoy doing. Other times would be babysitting, which in the series it shows his partner introducing him into that, and that wasn't the case. He had babysat anyway, and that is true. When the children went to the house, they had seen what they said shrunken heads and stuff like that. But in regards to Ed wearing the heads and magic tricks and all that, there's nothing I can find to say that that is true. But I knew from way back that, you know, the children used to go there, and then when they went home tell their parents, and the parents used to just you just got a great imagination. Like that never happened. You imagine when them children entered that house what they had seen. Yeah, it probably looked unreal. It's crazy. Them children definitely did see all the masks and stuff like that he had around, because I'm pretty sure he did have quite a few masks led around the house, so you never know what had gone on in that house while he babysat. It's crazy when you think of it, innit? Also, he used to give different meats to the locals, which, now knowing what we know, that could have been a certain meat, because he did used to eat some of them, so you never know that meat could have been something else. But yeah, moving on. Ed used to read a lot of magazines to do with the Nazis. In there were pictures of Jewish men and women. They were tattooed. There was a section in the magazine called Death to Fashion, where in the chapters of them books they would show, the heads, bowls of skulls, the chairs, just furniture made with skin. This was actually real, when the Holocaust was around and stuff like that. So it's terrible, no doubt that had inspired him to do what he had done. Well, without reading the magazines, I wonder what else he would have done, because he would have turned out to have done something regardless, maybe just a flat out serial killer. He definitely got inspired by them magazines. It does say on the research that he had, learned how to slowly cut the skin and then tan the skin, which in the magazines doesn't state how to do that and to tan the skin. So yeah, I don't know anything about that. I feel sorry for the police officers when they entered that home, because in there, as it's listed, so do your research like I've done mine if you don't believe me, but in his home were whole bones, bone fragments, bowls of skulls, chairs made of skin. There were several chairs all scattered around the homes, which were covered by skin. Most of the bins in the house were all covered by skin. Skulls, they were all female skulls. Upstairs in his bedroom, on the bedposts, were human skulls on the bedposts. He had made an entire torso, shoulder to the waist, of skin, and then he had like leggings of skin. He had many masks around the house. One of the masks belonged to Mary, which was his first victim that he actually killed, and her head as well. I think he kept her head. Then Bernice Warden was the second woman that he had killed. Her heart in a plastic bag that was in the kitchen stove as well. Crazy. The list goes on. He had 9 vulvas in a box, 2 of them belonging to girls under the age of 15. Had a little girl's dress as well. 4 noses, and a nipple belt as well. So I don't know if you guys have seen them pictures online, because there's some which are like inspired by Ed Gein, which, you know, I think there's like a book with like a face on, untrue. There's loads. I think there's like one image that I'd seen online which is actually true. But that nipple belt picture that's available, you can see on Google, that nipple belt is real. That is was what he made. But yeah, mad. The vulvas, noses, belts, the furniture, the masks, the heart. Crazy, bro. Absolutely mental. Oh, I did miss out too. A pair of lips on the a drawstring of blinds. So you know that you pull down on the blinds. There was some lips that he had done, and also a mask. So a mask that he had took somebody's face and put the mask on a lampshade and sewn that onto lampshade. Mental, mad. The series shows that he goes to the graveyard for the first time to dig his mother back up. That wasn't real. That never happened. So once he was alone, he had then went to the graveyard to just find a grave that wasn't fully buried. He had then dug that body up, had taken it back to his house, and he thought it looked a lot like his mother. So that's probably why. Maybe it was just an inspiration. He just thought that body was just by an off chance that it looked like his mother. After he got caught and the reign of terror had stopped, while he was in prison, obviously all his belongings then become really famous, all up for auction. They were hardly going for anything, but back then that must have been a lot of money. But I'll get into prices in a bit. But while he was inside, his house had caught on fire. So people used to obviously visit the house, go in there to see, what it all looked like. Because obviously it was a tourist attraction, and somehow the place had burned down. It was definitely foul play involved. Somebody had set the place on fire, which I think fair enough. And again, Bernice Warden's son worked for the fire brigade, so they was not in any rush when they had found out that the house had set fire. Let it burn, yeah. So they did is let it burn. They weren't in any rush to go and do that, which rightly so. I don't even know why they didn't even do that themselves. The locals had to have lived with this for all their life. It's such a sleepy village, nothing going on, and then like a worldwide attraction, and that's what it was known for. I don't know how that place didn't get rid of anything to do with Ed Gein straight away, from the grave to the house to anything, it's crazy. So all of the belongings were seized, and I don't know what has happened to all of his belongings and all them things. Probably most of it burnt. His truck that he had used to put the bodies in and drive to the house, it was auctioned, and it was bought by a carnival owner. He had bought that truck for $760, which now I worked out is about 9K. 7K or 9K? I don't know. 7K or 9K it works out of now. It was £763 he had bought the truck for. But no one knows where that truck is now. It was bought many years back, and nobody knows where it is now. So, not that I'm interested, but anybody that is watching this is interested. Nobody knows where that truck is now, and obviously, yeah, the house got burned down. So yeah, I just searched it. It was 9K, definitely 9K. So yeah, want to wrap the video up, but RIP to all of his victims, even though he was never charged for quite a few of them. It was definitely him, and he never admitted to it because he kept having these blackouts, you know what I mean? The police officer dealing with the case, he had a heart attack, possibly from all of the stress. You imagine how much stress he was under with everything that he had seen, everything they had to deal with. The officer did assault Ed Gein, which he was going to be charged with that, and he had to stand up in court and talk about that time that it happened. Obviously, he didn't get his time to stand up in court and speak about it because sadly he passed away. So there was that. and his victims. So RIP to all of them. And this is why I don't get it, why people are sympathizing with this character, because they did make that character up. That character never actually existed. The voice didn't exist. Okay, how he looked, yeah, they got that pretty good. But this lovable romance, never happened. Him having sex with his mum never happened. This sort of like this like, weird character, that they portrayed was not him. It was not him. Yeah, he was just a savage nutcase. Yeah, I don't know why they portrayed him as this lovable person that everybody likes. Because trust me, he was evil, pure evil. And people are like, oh, I just want to give him a hug. You're nuts, mate. You're nuts. Yeah. So let's just wrap this up. Happy Halloween to everybody. Sorry, I forgot to mention, in the series it shows Ed's lover, this great story about her moving away, trying to find a career. That was all made up by the series. Also, then the scenes of the Germans, that was all made up for TV. There's nothing stating any of that actually happened, but obviously the magazines that Ed had read from the Nazi groups to be able to create the furniture. Yes, their magazines did exist, but no, the things that that did not exist. That there's a lot in that series that did not happen, and that's why I just took a disliking to it. I've always been interested, like many others, for some strange way, in how the brains tick of people that do these sort of things. So this was a Halloween special, but if you would like more like this, please let me know in the comment sections, please, because if you are interested, I can bring you many more stories on serial killers, or in any spooky, ghouly sort of stuff. You want something like that, I'll give it you. You know what I mean? I don't mind. I'll definitely speak about it, but I wanted to keep it about the music stuff and the behind the scenes stuff with music. But if this is gonna bring a liking to the page and you enjoy hearing stuff like this, I can definitely do that. So please let me know in the comments below. Yeah, respect. People are like, oh, I just want to give him a hug. You're nuts, mate. You're nuts. Yeah. So let's just wrap this up. Happy Halloween to everybody. I'm picking up my son later on, and we're going to enjoy Halloween this weekend and do a few other things. So yeah, I just want to say thank you for the ongoing support. This is episode 4. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment if you can. 3 blood drops. Yeah. So yeah, like, comment, share, comment 3 blood drops, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified, and until next time, peace.
I'll make us famous, eating your anus. Crimes are heinous, stick it in bladeless, shameless. Can't detain us, no one to save us. Powers they gave us, handing out shots, ain't racist, aimless. Won't be painless, loving they hate us. In the Himalayas, running with a stinger. Stings everywhere, murdering gracious. Blacking out behave, skin on my lampshade. Look upon your face, smile and wave. Dig up a grave, back to the cave. Slowly cut, slowly shave. Oh, for fuck's sake, just like Bianca, name is Dave.